Hey guys, so there was a comment on my last video, which actually was something that I had noticed myself, that when looking at videos and whatnot on YouTube and the internet, there's a lot of stuff on basic and quite a bit on AIT, but not so much about Real Army. And the reason I think that is because every MOS is extremely different, and not only that, but it's widely variable across different bases. And even I noticed in my MOS, my battles who are stationed in other places have completely different lives and tasks than I do. So what I had given thought about before making this video was things that I've kind of noticed that are the same between TRADOC and Real Army in general, and then my own specific experience. So I think the biggest thing is the amount of free time you get once you are in Real Army. When you're in basic training, my platoon didn't get any free time at all. It was mail and then bed. But of most people that I've talked to, got about an hour. And then when you get to AIT, your nights are mostly yours, but there is a lot of requirements. Like you have PT either in the very early in the morning or after school, which I had it after school. So we did breakfast chow at 7, and then we were in school until 5, and then we had to march all the way back, which was about 15-minute march, and then we had to stand for colors, and then we did PT, and then we had chow together, and then we could go back to the room, and then we had about an hour and a half until bed check formation. And then even on the weekends, you have to meet a bunch of formations, and there's weird requirements that they want you to do, like maybe they want you to go to the museum or volunteer at whatever activity is going on. So there's a lot of things you have to do, but you do have a little bit more free time. And don't forget, you have to study in AIT. And then when you get to Real Army, free time is yours to use however you want. The only restrictions that I've really found is the mileage limits, which don't really, it doesn't affect you. For me, it's 250 miles. I'm not sure if that's the same for everyone or if that's my specific section. But I know my NCOIC is very, very awesome about, like, if I tell him ahead of time I want to go to Anchorage because I live in Alaska and it's outside of the mileage limit, he just sign off on it as long as I give him enough time in advance. And, you know, there's no counseling issues, Article 15s, or anything like that. So it doesn't really feel like a limit. It just kind of is a thing you have to plan for. And then the other thing I've seen across the border in general with TRADOC versus Real Army is guard duty. So in basic training, you have fire guard. And for us as females, it was every other night for an hour. And the males that I've talked to had it once every 3 or 4 nights just because there's more males to do the rotation. And then in AIT, we had it for 2 to 4 hours about twice a week. And in Real Army, I haven't had it yet. You do AOD, is what it's called in my section, and it's 24-hour CQ, I guess, is what most people call it. We call it AOD. I don't know. It just depends on your location and your platoon and all that good stuff. But it tends to be 24 hours in real life, although Real Army, you don't have it quite as often, at least as E4 and below. From what I understand, I'm not a sergeant yet, but they have it, instead of once every few months, it's once every few weeks. So you have it a little more often, just because there's not as many for the rotation. There's a lot of E4s and below. So that seems to be the general idea across the Army. Now, my experience, I can tell you, is probably not going to be yours, but from what I find, I have a really, really awesome job, and I have really, really awesome coworkers and a lot of stability. My job is usually from 08 to 1600, and it's not usually any before or any after. Once in a great while, if we need to get something done, we'll go in before or after to get it done. But we do PT in the middle of the day during lunch, so we usually leave work at about 11:30, work out until about 13, and then depending on the day and how much needs to get done, we can either go home and eat and shower, or we have our food in the office, so we eat while we work. It just kind of depends. And then, yeah, like I said, it's very stable. We leave at 1600. Sometimes we have, safety briefs or command sergeant major meetings, or something out of the ordinary that needs to happen at 1600. But again, it's not like every day, it just happens once in a while. And then if we have appointments, like medical appointments, dental, optometry, all you have to do is let the NCOIC know so that they're not expecting you to be at work when you're not there, and then assign you something and you're like, oh, can't be there. Just let them know, and he's cool with it, just as long as you can take accountability. We do, so I'm part of the hospital. I guess I should have said that. I'm preventive medicine, so I work through the hospital, and the whole hospital does PT together once a month, which, yay, falls on this Friday. So that's when we do our early morning PT in the cold. I live in Alaska, if I did mention that. I'm pretty sure I did, but it is freezing at 4:30 in the morning. Which I think is part of the reason my NCOIC in my section doesn't make us do PT in the morning. He doesn't like the cold at all, even less than I do. So yeah, it's going to be freezing. It's already in the 30s here, and it's September. So in the morning, it's even colder, and it's supposed to snow this weekend, which I'm actually excited about. Anyways, I'm getting off topic here. So I guess I know a lot of my battles on posts that have way different jobs than me work some pretty crazy hours, and they don't have the Monday through Friday job that I do. So I wish I could give you more guidance on what you'll be expecting when you get into Real Army, but I can't. It's a little different for me too, because I'm technically Oconus, so things work a little bit differently here than they do in the low 48. I feel like this isn't a very helpful video, but I think it's also good to know that you can't know what happens in Real Army. I can tell you, you're going to have more free time that is for you to be an individual, and you won't be doing fire guard, watch, whatever it is you're calling. Everyone calls it a little bit different in AIT, I think, but yeah, you won't be doing guard as much. And after that, I think the general concept is when you get in Real Army that it's a real job, so you need to treat it as a real job. Be professional. Don't complain. It is the Army, so your time is not ever your time. Oh, you mean you're still going to do your analysis and stuff like that, but it's rewarding and it's fun. You got to wait until you figure out where you're going, and then you'll get a sponsor. If you don't get a sponsor right away, what I did is I actually emailed the company commander, which I found on Fort Wainwright's website, and I told them I'm coming on July 22nd, I think I got here, and I don't have a sponsor yet. Do you know how I can go about getting one? And then like 2 days later, I had a sponsor emailing me. So don't just sit around and wait for them. I gave them 3 weeks before I annoyed the commander with that email, I'm sure. So just give it a little bit of time and then take action yourself. There's nothing wrong with emailing somebody to figure out how to get a sponsor, because you're going to want one. And then you can ask them all the questions you want, and they'll be able to give you more advice on what to expect than I can. So again, if you guys have any specific questions about Army training or anything in between, just let me know, and I'll either answer in the comments or I'll make another video. So thanks for watching. Bye.